Good morning, everyone. Uh, Hope you're doing well. A little chilly this morning, lots of snow, but it's winter. Um, December 21st, 2020, about 43 days ago, it was the shortest day of the year. Sunrise was 7:41 and sunset was 4:57. 9 hours and 16 minutes of light. Yesterday, February 2nd, sunrise was at 7:04 and sunset was 6:05. 11 hours and 1 minute of light. So we must be aware that the light is growing. There's almost 2 hours more light today than there was 43 days ago. And whenever we see more light, it gives us hope, and it reminds us that spring is coming. And it's at this juncture I want to mention yesterday's feast day, because it was a really big feast day. It was the feast of the presentation of Jesus in the temple. We also call it Candlemas Day, because candles remind us always that Jesus is the light of the world, and that is what the feast day is all about. And there was a time when the Christmas season had 40 days in it, just like Lent. And yesterday used to be the 40th day and the official end to the Christmas season. And the feast day tells a story which closes out the birth stories of Jesus, Mary and Joseph going to the temple to present Jesus. And I just want to read the gospel for a moment today and say a few words about it. It's taken from St. Luke. When the days were completed for their purification according to the law of Moses, Mary and Joseph took Jesus up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. Just as it is written in the law of the Lord, every male that opens the womb will be consecrated to the Lord. And they offered the sacrifice of a pair of turtle doves and 2 young pigeons, in accordance with the dictates of the law of the Lord. Now there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. This man was righteous and devout, awaiting the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he should not see death before he had seen Christ the Lord. He came in the Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Jesus to perform the custom of the law in regard to him, Simeon took him in his arms and blessed God, saying, "Now, Master, you may let your servant go in peace according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you prepared in the sight of all the peoples, a light for the revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel." So as the light is growing, we celebrate this feast day where Jesus is proclaimed to be, even as a child, the light of the world. And this feast day reminds me of 2 incidents I'd like to pass on to you today. One of them reminds us of Mary's role, that she goes there with Joseph to present her child to God, but also to present her child to us. I was coming into church yesterday, and one of the ladies said to me, "Hey, let me show you a picture of my great-grandchild." And it was a picture of this beautiful little baby. And isn't it so true of mothers? They all want to present their babies, especially if it's their first baby. They say, "Oh, let me show a picture of the baby. Have you seen the baby?" And that was Mary as well. You know, she wanted to say to us, "Hey, let me show you a picture of the baby. Do you want to see the baby?" And that's her role in our faith. She's the presenter. All the time, she says to us, "Let me show you a picture of my child. Let me present to you my baby." And that's our role as well. We go into the world as presenters, imitating Mary, and through our actions and through our words and through our suffering, we present Jesus to the world. The other incident that I remember is that Father George was here at one point. We called him the high priest. He was 6'9". And George knew a little bit of Chinese. And one day after Mass, there was this mother who wanted to show us the baby. And she had just adopted this little girl from China. And as she's trying to show everybody this little baby, the baby would have none of it. The baby just buried her head in her mother's chest and would not respond to anybody's, wanting to see her. But then Father George said a few words in Chinese, and this little girl all of a sudden came alive and turned around towards George and put her arms out. And that's a reminder that if we say the right words, Jesus will come into our life. And we learn these words and say these words in our prayer, in our confessions, in our sacraments, in our good actions. These are the words we speak. And when we speak these words, Jesus comes gladly into our arms. I want to close by reading this little poem. Amanda Gormley was the young woman at the inauguration that read the inauguration poem. But she also wrote another poem about what we're going through right now with the pandemic. And it's really a poem about light and a poem about hope. So let me read it to you, and this is how we'll close the reflections today. I thought I'd awaken to a world in mourning, heavy clouds crowding, a society storming. But there's something different on this golden morning, something magical in the sunlight, wide and warming. I see a dad with a stroller taking a jog. Across the street, a bright-eyed girl chases her dog. A grandma on a porch fingers her rosaries. She grins as her young neighbor brings her groceries. While we might feel small, separate, all alone, our people have never been more closely tethered. The question isn't if we can weather this unknown, but how we will weather this unknown together. So on this meaningful morn, we mourn and we mend. Like light, we can't be broken even when we bend. As one, we will defeat both despair and disease. We stand with healthcare heroes and all employees, with families, libraries, waiters, schools, artists, businesses, restaurants, and hospitals hit the hardest. We ignite not in the light, but in the lack thereof, for it is in loss that we truly learn to love. In this chaos we will discover clarity. In suffering we must find solidarity. For it is our grief that gives us our gratitude, shows us how to find hope if we ever lose it. So ensure that this ache wasn't endured in vain. Do not ignore the pain, give it purpose, use it. Read children's books, dance along to DJ's music. Know that this distance will make our hearts grow fonder. From these waves of woes, our world will emerge stronger. We'll observe how the burdens braved by humankind are also the moments that make us humans kind. Let each morning find us courageous, brought closer, heeding the light before the fight is over. When this ends, we'll smile sweetly, finally seeing, in testing times we become the best of beings. May the Lord bless all of you, and I will be praying for you at my Mass today, and thank you and have a good day.